I think I might have fixed the sound. Can you hear me? Or are we still broken? You're joking. Did I actually manage to fix it? I was convinced I was speaking to myself. We do. You're unbelievable. Truly unbelievable. Wow. I'm beyond proud of myself because technology is not my strongest suit, and I've tried to pull out some quite old gear to see if I can get it all teed up and working. And it seems like we've had a round of success. So let's not get too excited too early. There's lots of things that have certain amounts of battery power, and we may just find one just up and dies on us. So right now though, it looks like we've got visual, we've got sound, we've got paint, we've got brushes, we've got a canvas to be painted, we've got sun, which is trying to move around the sky, but we can adjust things as we go. And we've got the last half. It was full at the start, but the last half now of a coffee simply being that took longer to get set up than I thought. When I say longer to get set up, we've been at this for the better part of 2 hours. But we're all teed up now, which is great. Now the sun has moved on me, so let me spin this around, and I'm gonna try and read the comments as I go, but bear with me because with the sun blaring out like it is, it will be a little bit more challenging to see them, but I'm gonna do my best. So, long time no see, everyone. Thank you very much for leaping back in and joining me and tolerating my absence. Let's not dwell on that. Let's dwell on this picture here. Now, I'm hoping to spend some time with you guys with a bit of framing that we're going to be doing. But for now, no distractions, fresh canvas, and this one here is actually a painting of where we are right now. This is going to be Tui Gorge. And the beautiful part about this piece is it's going to be subtly a reflection of another painting, very subtly, but I won't give up more than that. We'll go that far. But at the moment, hills through here, sky, and then the reflection of those hills will be down in the water with a kind of, dare I say it, tumultuous, I didn't pronounce that right, landscape through here. Lots of different changes in elevations, lots of color. I want to bathe the whole thing in just different, wildly different pigments all over the surface is the plan. And we'll see where that takes us. It's as simple as that. Oh, let me get this one out here. And I do hope everyone in all the 4 corners of the globe that you're from, while I've been away, I hope you've been all right. Got a bush track here on this property, and I've been trying to get into some walking, a little bit of running. I got little legs, and my knees aren't quite cut out for running, but I give it my best. So there's that. Good thing about these heavy-bodied acrylics is where you put the color, because it's so thick, it stays. It doesn't mess around and fade out. When you do those thin sheens, if the surface isn't prepped perfectly, it'll sink into the substrate. In this case, it's quite a dry gesso board, so it does stand to possibly lose a bunch of that color into it, but it won't, because heavy-bodied. It's like putting thick liquid plastic on something. It just doesn't lose its color in the same way. But the more you add, the more calorie you get. It's that simple. Van Gogh knew that. Hello, Jay. Welcome on in, and Birdie, all the old friends. Thank you very much for joining on in again. I'm good. I'm very good, and I hope you've been good too. Birdie, I hope you're still painting. Hope you're still making art. You'll hear the, in the background, if you can, you'll hear the tuis. So this is called Tui Gorge. This is my home. And we've actually got a few, they're about 40 years old, I think. That might be entirely wrong. 40-year-old olive trees that were absolutely covered in olives. And Shelby and I were thinking, how are we going to pick all these olives? How are we going to do this? Do we get a commercial outfit in? Do we do it ourselves? Shelby was doing a lot of research in how to pick olives. We were going the whole 9 yards. And anyway, turns out our problem solved itself, because the birds, tuis, blackbirds, everything came in and ate every single olive. There was a commercial crop of olives, and now it's all been eaten. So on one hand, now I know when to pick my olives, 2 weeks before that. And on the other hand, now I don't have the job of picking olives. So that's wonderful. The one wild card being, the one beautiful part being, that because those birds came in for the olives, there was this wonderful period where we had just incredible, incredible bird song all through the gorge. Really, really beautiful. Never heard, you couldn't hear yourself think. The birds you do hear now, they're not eating the olives anymore, they're all gone. What they're hanging out and talking about is how good the olives were. They did look like good olives too. Not that I'm an olive expert. They just looked succulent. Ready for the picking. And it turns out I was right. How about that? Hey, Mac Attack. Oh, fantastic, Birdie. Love to hear it. Love to hear it. I hope the commissions that you're taking and doing, I do hope you're getting that little bit of freedom to sort of add your own bit of flavour into it. Commissions are great. They're amazing, but you need to have that freedom to put your flavour, your kind of stamping on it. You'd be like, well, it's my art. They want my art. They do, but like, they're kind of loose a leash to explore and go somewhere you didn't expect you were going to go. That's what this painting's been. Now, actually, what'll be really interesting is I'll show you at the end of this one beside its sister or brother. It's, this is the second go I've had at this one, because I want to get it right. Big on that. I've been restarting a lot of pieces, but that's just how I'm behaving at this point in my life. Be interesting to see where it goes. The restaurant one was absolutely gorgeous, though. That one is now in Washington, and they loved it, which is fantastic, because that was the kind of work that we had so much detail in it, but it did have a slightly larger level of abstraction. And so, ha ha ha, there is a familiar face that I'm overjoyed to see. Hey, JC. Welcome in. I hope you don't hold my absence against me. We've got the wonderful, wonderful season going on at the moment, and here in New Zealand. This is my home. You're looking at grass. That, well, is it my grass or does it belong to the bank? It's, I mean, isn't a mortgage just a rental agreement you have with the bank? It certainly feels that way sometimes. So in this landscape too, we're going to try and get a lot more thicker textures into it. Really embellish it with thick paint. That's why we've gone straight into heavy bodied. So there'll be no thin sheen to start with, just texture pumping off the surface is the plan. All right. Now, the trick's going to be to try and capture all these different. This place is very steep in some spots, flat in other ones. We're kind of on a, I don't know if you call it a plateau, but a big flat patch on top of the ridge. And then just over that way, just down a little bit, it turns almost vertical, cliff-like, falling down. So like this place certainly has some changes in landscape, abrupt changes. And we kind of want to capture those in this. If we can. If we can. Plenty of white. I always like titanium white. I feel like it's better mixing whites and zinc whites. I just never touch them. Just always use full on, full power titanium white. And when it's not the appropriate one to go for, I like to bounce across onto titanium buff, which is kind of a halfway mark between Naples yellow and titanium white. It's kind of a, it's like if you left white on the bench for too long and it went all the wrong color. And sometimes that's what you're after. You're after that. Mustier white. Here we go. Gorgeous. All right. Burnt amber light. Browns. How thrilling. Sometimes I feel like the greys, the browns, not black, but grey, brown, muted tones, they just exist. So you have a platform to launch into red, yellow, and blue. Everything else is just meh. Strong blues, strong reds, strong greens never feel as good. Strong greens. Greens are good, but they need that underlying red and blue. Just dancing into the surface. Or on top. Same with purple and orange. Really nothing competes with those three primaries. It's different on a screen. I always find that purple and orange and green are the best when it comes to LEDs, neons, lights and things. But if you're working with pigments, paint, acrylics, oils, red, yellow, blue are just infinitely better. They just stand out more. They do more, say more, look better. You'd be like, well, that's a subjective opinion. Yeah, it is. I guess, have you guys heard the case of when they talk about paint and say that, not paint, but colour, that how do we know that your blue is the same as my blue, or that we don't see actually inside of our own brains, we perceive colours differently? I personally don't think we do, but it's a fun thought experiment. Imagine if my blue was your yellow, and that's why everyone has different favourites. And maybe we all actually like the exact same colour as our favourites. Our minds are just taking in these wavelengths and just changing them at the final front end. It's improbable, bordering on impossible, but it's a fun thought experiment. Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs. That's good perception. Gotta try and figure out why I lost the... Did I lose visual? Did we get visual back? We did. Good. Did we lose it, or did I just imagine that? Maybe I just imagined it. It's a hot day, though. Great day for painting, but it's a hot day. Here we go. It's a great day to be alive. You know, the sun's still shining when I close my eyes. It's a hard time in the neighborhood. These are wonderful colors, though. The thing I like about these colors, I'll show you up close, is you'll see sometimes we're mucking around trying to figure out how to get those little caps off. These colors just come, lid just comes off, paint's ready. Game changer. It's an infinitely better system to have no annoying secondary lid, because usually when you need to take that secondary lid off, your hands have a bit of paint on them, you're busy, it's not the appropriate time, whatever it might be. There we go. You know, the sun's still shining when I close my eyes. It's a hard times in the neighborhood. We'll also do more videos around this place, guys. We will, but I've got to say thank you very much for your patience. It's just that the place is such a mess right now, and I feel embarrassed showing you the mess. I took you into the studio a while ago, and I felt embarrassed about that. But here we go. There we go. I did. All right, so I'm not going crazy. That's good. That's good. I was worried that it was just a knack. I thought maybe it's cut the video feed, but anyway. Hey, can I bring you around a little bit? Let me just pick you up here. Sorry guys, lots of cords there. I'm just going to bring you around here a little bit just to navigate how the sun's just changing during the day. There we go. But I'll tell you what, because we're using this equipment, I can bring you right on in so you can see. This is the paint up close. This is how messy it is that we're working with. Proper chaos. And that's how it wants to look. It's layer 2. That feels really good. But you can see we're just right up close. We're not really worried about leaving lugs and chunks. Look at that green one behind. That's good. That's going to build up underlaying texture. That'll make the work quite special. Because from a distance, the whole thing for the texture front flattens off and the colors need to speak. But up close, those textures will catch more shadows and make a big difference in how you actually feel about the work you're looking at. So from back here, you start to imagine what the landscape could be, where the tall parts, valleys are, where the water might start, whatever. But as you come close, all you can think about is these thick lugs of texture playing around, having fun. And we've talked about this before, but that's what makes the work quite special. The fact that you can actually have two experiences of it, one up close and one further away. Now, this picture's not been done with a photo, although we do have a photo. So not to be confused, we've got a photo we're using, or several photos of the gorge and the angles in it at different times of day. And then we're coming out here during the day, which is usually the biggest influence on me, the way it is right now, the colors in this environment right now. I'll take you for a quick spin, actually. A quick spin before we get back to painting. Okay, so you're actually on a camera at the moment. So when I spin around, now, if I bring you around to here, there's the studio. That's the Tui Gorge studio. I'm currently painting it, so it's currently a combination of 3 colors. It's going to have white trim by the end of it. And then here's the orchard with the fruit trees. Behind them is where the olives are. So all of which have nothing on them due to those lovely, lovely birds. And then over here, there's our grapefruit tree, which we're very lucky for our gin and tonics. And if the cords will allow me to keep spinning, you'll see this is leading on down to the gorge. And one of Shelby's favorite trees, red maple popping in there, along with Chilean fire trees, which just go absolutely nuts. So this is our lovely little environment that we get to paint in. And we're facing this way at the moment for one reason and one reason alone. It was the closest I could get to the best angle from the sun. And so if you come out later in the day, you would position yourself over that side, camera facing that way, because the sun's behind you. And if you come out first thing in the morning, basically anyway facing this way, but the sun goes directly over me like this. So pre-12, you're facing this way. Post-12, we kind of keep moving around. So if we were going to paint for 8 straight hours, we just keep chiseling around in a big loop. And that would be our experience of the gorge. It does feel like that sometimes, a little paradise. Our own little slice of something special. Of course, I can't tout the, if you want to see beautiful gardens, I've got a lot of lawn and trees. That's kind of my speed. But if you want to see beautiful flowers, you want to talk to Steve. He's the guy who's got, I've seen it on his TikTok, massive flowers, massive, beautiful flowers. I obviously need to learn how to be doing that, but at the moment, like I said, I'm hard into keeping the weeds off the place right now. The future, I hope, does hold wonderful big flowers like that. Do they grow naturally in your backyard, or do you have to put some love into them? Is it just that your environment's absolutely perfect for them? What's the go there? I did plant some sunflowers, which I loved. They were just so big. Fun. They didn't last long, for a couple of reasons. I didn't look after them well, as one of the key ones, but they were a really fun flower. Hibiscus, gorgeous. But this place really does get quite a spectrum coming through it. But you know this though. You know you've got gorgeous flowers. This hasn't caught you off guard. Now who's that shooting off a galaxy? Can I give you some love back? Rex. Hey Rex, thank you very much for being here. And you make it possible to be here streaming from this little spot, which is special. They grow on and do good on their own. It's volcanic soil here. Yeah. See, I've got volcanic water, which is fun. So there's a bore on site here. So a bore is a pump which goes down deep into the earth and pulls out a little bit of water. That goes into a tank, which then gets pumped from the tank to the house. Now the bore is collecting water from deep in the earth. That water comes from south of here, from a place called Lake Taupo. And from Lake Taupo to here, it's running through, essentially what Steve's saying, it gets through the volcanic rock and gets filtered by the volcanic rock. So it's, anyway, it's lovely water. It's quite fun. But I've never lived on a property with a bore before. I've always had springs or rainwater or town supply. So having something that comes from deep under the ground it's kind of special. They grow up and do it on their own. You know, it does remind me of, we talk about growing up and doing it on your own. I saw an Instagram reel the other day and said, don't worry about, take from this what you will, but it said, don't worry about raising your kids. They're going to grow up to be exactly like you anyway. Raise yourself so they know how far they can go. And I thought, well, certainly don't take that to the extreme, but there is a lovely, beautiful message in that, I think. Just take the glasses off for a moment. I do love those glasses. Here we go. Thick, juicy lugs of paint. And by the end of it, I want to be able to point out where the structure of this landscape is and how it all works. But at the same time, bring you up close and have that level of chaos that I love so much. The goal is kind of to create a picture with substance inside abstraction. That's the dance here. That's why painterly and impressionist styles exist. Seeing how much substance you can get with how much abstraction. You say, well, the two things can't coincide. They can. They can, because you can see so much in chaos, but only when it's, I mean, it sounds so wrong to say it, but only when the chaos is orchestrated or designed in the right way, you can appreciate chaos and see substance. Now, lots of titanium white prepared for that. Terra Verde. Cool name for a color, but it's just a sloppy green. Cobalt Violet. I'll take this one next. Honestly, I do want to grow hibiscus and sunflowers because then I can do still lifes, Steve. So you basically grow the flowers and either paint or pick them to paint, just like Van Gogh did. There's something special about that. Flowers are great sitters. They don't get tired. They do like being not pulled out of the ground, but they don't get tired like people do. People shift their positions. They can be quite challenging to actually capture and paint. You find sometimes when they move, you're sitting there going, well, I kind of know the arm shadow is supposed to go there, so I'll just do that. And then you stop getting this proper representation of them, and instead start getting this kind of cloned apparition of the body's structure that you just know should be there. And so it starts to feel more like a artistic rendition of a mannequin, more than it feels like that there's soul in the work. And you'll start to notice that if you look at a lot of portrait paintings, you'll be like, am I enjoying a portrait where a person's captured someone's likeness? Or am I enjoying a portrait because this person got really good at drawing eyes, mouths, noses, ears, and now I'm just watching another carbon copy of them doing that? Is this just a really nice example of eyes, mouth, noses, ears, chins, cheeks, shadows, lighting conditions? Or is this actually capturing the subject? Because those two things are mutually exclusive. One helps the other, but it's so tempting to be like, oh, I kind of know I should do this because it'll make it look right. As soon as you have that thought, I don't know, it feels gross. Doesn't feel like you're making art anymore. It feels like you're just more of a craftsman. That's what I reckon. Who's that there? Oh, Mr. Blue Phoenix. Welcome on in. I hope you can forgive me for my absence. I've been doing a lot of apologizing this stream. Not just for disappearing, but also I've been apologizing for the lack of sound, the shaky video quality, the changing light conditions, just a lot of apologies. Hopefully, we get to a stage where I'm apologizing less and painting more. That'd make me really happy. That would make me really happy. This is a landscape. This is where I live. Blue Phoenix. I'm just going to do this quickly. So I'm not sure how long I've got you for. So let me just do a quick little spin around. Who was that there? Rex, Bella Rex. Thank you very much, Rex. I appreciate you. I hope you can forgive me. Oh, no. No, you're totally fine. Dude, trust me, bump it down the same amount of time that we've gone through that we've been in this process together, I've been in that process with this picture for someone as well. So art doesn't go in a linear boom, boom, boom. We try and create time schedules around it to make it work even slightly with life. But the reality of art is some pictures take years. It is just what happens. And to deny that is to remove yourself as an artist and become a craftsman, because art's not linear. It never has been, it never will be. But I'm excited for it, and I'm excited for this piece too. I feel in the right mind frame now. I feel good. Now, sorry, I don't know how long I've got with you, so let me take it for a quick spin and show you this place. And for everyone else, you can come for a little spin too. Here we go. So we've got this is a lovely, lovely tree here. Shelby told me what it was called. I always forget the name of trees. Now, if we come around here, this is the shed that you can see behind me there. That's the art studio / shed. Now, I was talking Blue Phoenix with you about it. We've actually gone for blue, and it's only a third painted, so please excuse. You can actually see at the far end here that it's actually still the previous color. So it's going to be blue with white gloss trim is the plan. And in time. Now, this way, up here, these ones sprouting at the top, that's the Nashi pear tree. And this one here is just pretty. Now, you can see my little Band-Aid. This is my butterfly Band-Aid from my daughter. And you can see over there on this side, that's one of the olive trees. They're massive 40-year-old olives. You can see it popping out here too. We're going to go paint down in the glade at some stage, but right now, it was just a little bit far for me. Now, these trees here, they make lovely grapefruit for gins. And then we come on around here, and I've got to show you this because we've got a lot of gardeners here. Steve's got some amazing flowers, and Blue Phoenix is an incredible gardener. These are punga trees. You might have seen them on a lot of New Zealand posters or photos. They're a tree that, it's a fern that affects, well, it's not a fern, but it looks like a fern. It goes straight up in the air on a long trunk and then comes out the top, kind of like a palm tree, but it's a fern at the top. They're quite delicate and very itchy if you have a bunch of their little bits falling down your back. That's a lovely maple tree. I love maples. That always reminded me of my childhood. And this tree here, I'm going to zoom in on it. This is my favorite. This is a Chilean fire tree. Love Chilean fire trees. So you can see a couple of little notes of red. There's one there. Those little bits fire up, and the entire tree just turns into this wonderful rocket of red. It's the most gorgeous thing you can imagine. I love them so much. They've actually altered the way in which we view the garden on this place to make sure we actually do justice to the Chilean fire trees. But at the moment, dealing with the mess of the place, one of the biggest jobs has been to make sure we actually get rid of the junk and save the lawn. And then after that, the natural plan is going to be to plant. So it's going to be very exciting to see what actually goes in here for flowers, shrubberies, these kind of things. Where'd I put my blush brush? It's going to be very exciting to see what we end up actually landing on. I want sunflowers. I know my mum's been giving me a hard time saying they're not perennial. You'll have a hard time, this and that. She's right. But I love sunflowers. So can't choose who you love. Can't choose what you love. You can only choose how hard you pursue it. And I am going to pursue it. I like me some sunflowers. They make me feel happy. Big yellow flowers. Especially the ones that go up high. They make me feel good. They seed sometimes. If that's possible, then deal me up. G'day, Hitty. Welcome on in. Yeah, so I've got a griddle, not a barbecue. And the reason I like a griddle, AI told me to get one because I was explaining what I was after. And it's great for everything Shelby and I like to cook. A griddle is just a big hot plate. It's an outdoor one. Big hot plate and the elements are underneath. The difference is with a barbecue, all that rendered fat just drops onto the elements and it kind of gets to a state where it's kind of unless you really meticulously look after it, it gets dirty. So the difference is the griddle, you just wipe the top or season the top so it's a lovely cooked surface, and then you push off all the ugly bits after cooking, and the whole thing's clean every time. And so it's quite a nice experience in terms of hygiene. I'd always seen the barbecue as, charred bars that you throw meat on and cook like this, but actually the barbecue can be quite the griddle can be quite an elegant cooking device. You cook up sliced capsicum on it, you cook eggs on it, you cook all sorts, and it does an incredible job of it. If it wasn't cold outside late at night, we'd griddle literally everything all the time. It's I love it, and it's outdoors, so I don't like the sound of extraction. When you turn on the hood above your hob or anything like that, I just like having that clean heat coming off the griddle that I can just cook on. Listen to birdsong rather than a wait, that's a blow. That's more accurate, it's extraction. Okay. A lot to be loved here at this place. But I'll take you for better tours later in the piece, guys, I promise. I promise. I just wanted to crack into this one now. Continue building the layers on it. I think our other version of it went a little bit too abstract. I love it for that, but it did. I want to get a bit more shape in this gorge and these hills and this place. I do kind of love painting a picture, obviously, but the whole time, starting and finishing with a small brush. This is a miniature brush. This is 10 centimeters, 10 millimeters, sorry. So it's about, what's that? An inch is about, what's an inch? 27 mil? I forget. Someone will need to help me. If you can hear that, that's my tummy. I did have porridge and bananas this morning, so there's no excuse for it to be rumbly. There we go. There we go, there's the answer. 25.4 millimeters makes 1 inch. So this brush is, well, effectively, what's that, 2/5? 2/5 of an inch. Just shy of 2/5 of an inch. It's kind of, in terms of heavy-bodied paint, it's just the right size. Any smaller, and the human eye, I just feel like you don't detect that much happening with it. And then when you go too big, it gets so sloshy and messy that there's just paint everywhere and you lose that element of control. One bigger than this is good, 1/2 inch, but the odd 10 mil. 10 mil's good brush. In fact, I'm pretty sure those paintings from back in 2021, Zambezi River and Mahalo, if that was 2021 or 2022, time flies. They were done entirely with a brush that size, I think. I'm probably just lying. Is it a lie if you don't know you're lying? Or you call that an honest lie? Ah, it's a good question. So Blue Phoenix, this is a 40-inch by 30-inch canvas. So, okay, going back, this is the same size as Mahalo. This is the same size as the valley I call home. It's the same size as, just trying to think of a few other ones. A lot of them sit on 24 by 34 inches. Now, amazing size though it is, it's just a little bit smaller. This is 30 by 40, can fit anywhere while still being a statement piece when you need it. And then you can go, depending on the spaces you're working in, you go up to 36 by 48. And when you hit 36 by 48, you're talking, we're going big, baby. You can go bigger, but the same thing comes in. You're sometimes better to have, if you want to go bigger than 36 by 48, having two 30 by 40s or even two 36 by 48s together. But at the end of the day, the most important thing, follow your own preference. Because no one, well, someone might know what you like more than you, but the best way to develop taste is to taste things. So get paintings, get things from off shops, get chairs, soft furnishings, carpets. And only by doing it do you then suddenly realize, I like that, or that wasn't for me, so on and so forth. But so many people are so terrified of developing their own tastes that what happens? They never give themselves a chance to do so. Too terrified of making a mistake to ever get something right. Too terrified of making a mistake to ever get something right. What an awful way to spend 80 years on planet Earth. Don't do that. Try and resist that if you can. I'm not saying it's possible to resist that, but if you can, it'd be nice. My dog is fantastic. Shelby's taking the dog with her to work today. So, unfortunately, no dog with me. And I realize how lonely this place becomes without my animal. My companion, my friend. And I've told a lot of you this. I'm a dog person through and through now. I wouldn't go without a dog. He's a good boy. Plus, see how happy he makes my daughter Cooper. How happy he makes me. How happy he makes Cooper. The reminder that actually, I don't know, the reminder just to be happy, to keep it simple. He goes for a run, he gets 2 meals, sometimes 3. He gets to snuggle on the couch, he has a nap outside, and for all intents and purposes, he's a happy boy, he's had a great day. Now, why don't we find the same levels of happiness? We've got more opportunity, more ability, more of everything. And yet, he's the happy boy, and we're the ones who are learning. And sometimes the reason why we're not happy is we did just a little bit too much thinking and not enough enjoying or doing. How many nights out have you ruined because you overthought it? I won't dance, people are watching. I won't sing, people are listening. Someone told me when I was 12 years old I wasn't good at singing, so God forbid I sung in front of my friends. I won't do that because of this, I won't do that because of X. So you stand there in a bar and hate the entire night and get home and wonder why people enjoy it. That being said, some bars and clubs are awful. I got to that stage where my ears don't work when there's loud music playing. I need soft furnishings, guys. I need carpeted floors. Otherwise, I can't hear people. It's that simple. Now you just need a pack. Yeah, a pack. Like a dog pack? Is it a thing? I love taking Loki places with me though. God, it makes my day. Just a little legend. Not so little, actually. He's frickin', it's like Dr. Evil, he's frickin' massive. But he's still just a puppy. He's going on 1 year old. And he's getting used to the fact that he's actually quite large and that his course of action when other dogs or kids are around needs to start to become stay still or find a quiet space, but don't leap or, you know, he's starting to become more aware that his size can be scary, or not scary, but like his size can cause him to, you know, knock someone over if he gets excited, spins around too fast. He'll get more aware of his surroundings. And Koopy's been good for that because she loves to go, no, Loki, stop. She says that to Dad too. Daddy, stop. She puts her hand up. Daddy, stop. It's quite funny. It is quite funny. I've set up a little kitchenette for Loki's stuff. So all Loki's bits and pieces. And I've got a mini fridge for Loki too. So that way, all of his bits and pieces, everything he needs, are all safe and sound. Easy to find. Because a lot of what I do with Shelby too is, you know, we may be on slightly different schedules. So I may not know if she's fed Loki or not. And he tends to get a lot of second breakfasts or second dinners because of that sometimes. Naughty boy. But obviously, the getting a kitchenette set up with Loki's food, Loki's toys, Loki's collars, Loki's bags, Loki's everything that you need to make a doggy dog makes that much easier. One of Shelby's friends thought that a doggy dog world was a doggy dog world, like DOGGY, doggy dog. He said, no, it's dog eat dog. And she says, why would you say that? It's disgusting. It can just be a doggy dog world. And I'm like, actually, it's 2026. Dogs shouldn't be eating dogs. It's actually more appropriate. It's a doggy dog world. So I'm here for a doggy dog world at the end of the day, team. I feel like doggy dog world explains the world better anyway. Dog eat dog. What a crude saying. There's no need to say that. If that is the case, you don't need to say it. And if it isn't the case, you shouldn't say it. So why say it? You can excuse me for a moment, guys. I think everything's going to keep running with a bit of luck. I'm just going to swap into something. Probably going to grab a little bit of sunscreen and refill my coffee cup. But I'll be back in just a moment. This is a great layer too, though. I'm feeling pretty good about what's happening here. Like we talk about, this doesn't need to show the subject just yet, but it does need to. I mean, it kind of does from a distance at the moment. It kind of does. But actually, all it wants is that when you come in really close like this, you can see that's the thickness of the paint we're working with. Just really messy and chunky. You can see it's completely altering that with the shadows that it's casting because of from where the light's hitting it from. It wants to be 4 times more wild than that. So when you come on out, it's surprising and novel that it turns into a picture. And we'll get all those elements in there. So at the moment, and we don't work from a corner or a place or through layers. We just literally keep seeing moments and taking them, kind of like impromptu dancing in a way. This is going to turn into a reflection of the mountains in water down here. This is a gorge. There's water at the bottom. This is a kind of flattened area, trees, shrubberies, a few fields through here. And then it changes in its own pace through these tongues down into it from these mountains as they come up. But these mountains aren't, they're quite majestic, but they're not giant and tall. They're these kind of steep, sudden hills around the area. That's what we're after. Anyway, I will be back. Lost my cup over here. Thank you. Iced coffee. The sun is out blaring today, though. That's its naughty little plan at the moment. But this is infinitely better. These are my renovation shorts. They were renovation jeans, but they got a bit messy, so now they've been shaved off, which I'm custom, they say. Can't buy these from the store, have to get them custom made. And technically, they're custom made by an artist, and therefore, what is that, designer? Artistic. It's something, and I've played a hand in it, so that's quite exciting. Right, fresh brush time. Fresh brush. Keep your live more engaging. Don't turn your camera off. That makes no sense to me. Well, the sentence makes sense, but the reason why we got it makes none. This is better. I thought we were going to do a hot coffee, but certainly this is better. This is infinitely better. This sienna colour is leaving a lot to be desired. We'll use a bit of it in here, but I'm always voting against this mustard colour, making it into the final layers. I usually add it in because I'm like, oh, okay, we'll add this colour in, there's some places for it, and then as time goes by, I literally find reasons to tune it out, to cut it back, to, I don't know. Let me bring you back there. There we go. Keep the canvas nice and small, and then we'll zoom you into it when appropriate. A lot of yellows, though, are like that. They're kind of diluted or pasty. They don't give. Red's a giver. Blue's a powerhouse. Red's a giver. Yellow just always. I find myself leaning more towards Naples yellows and sometimes browns, splicing white or black through it, just trying to give it some more oompty dumps. But yellows, just, even with all the technology we've got, the pigment's just not that great. It's just not kicky enough. Great colour when it comes to, oh yeah, now that we're out of the jeans, we get the added flexibility. That's good. That's what we needed. What do I do? Just hating on yellow? That's about right. There we go. Just get that all through there. You'd think out of all the colours, it would be the easiest one to create, but the pigments just, they don't flow the same. Like, basically, they look the same all in the shop. They're all in the same tubes. You think they kind of squirt out the same, but the actual texture, viscosity of it's a little bit different. You don't get as much love from a tube of yellow. You can kind of, weirdly enough, you can always rely on a tube of ultramarine blue. But that being said, that's a synthetic paint. So you wonder, why can't they just replicate this and really give us something special? But anyway, it is what it is. This is good too. It's grass. It's grass and it's hot, and it's my grass. Technically, because the grass belongs to me, it's effectively my shoe, right? It's nice standing on grass. Stop my toes from curling up and getting stinky. This is, and I feel like they've popularized artists having bare feet these days. Like, it's like a connecting with the land. He has to for his creative. They have to for their creative process. Sure, whatever. He just didn't want to wear shoes. I don't need to overcomplicate it. Who became a super fan? Thanks, Steve. I like all the bells and whistles on this app, eh? When you stream on YouTube, and I haven't done it that often, but it's kind of just, there's the stream, a few comments come in. You know, I didn't think I liked all the join the team, super fan, this and that, but it turns out I kind of do. It's just fun. I don't understand it, but it's you know when you play, what's a good example? Who played Farmville back in the day? Who's still playing Farmville? When you get about, no, not the first 1 hour of the game, but after that, it's just like giving you little prizes and achievements and awards, and you're like, where was this during my day? I'm glad it's here now. It's sorry, we're here to paint. Titanium Buff is up next. The lightest of the browns. I'll bring this in close so you can see it. So this is Titanium Buff. So when I talk about, let's put it against the white. Hold on. I've called it Titan Buff, but it's usually, sure. So this is white. This is Titanium White. It's just a pure, stark white. That's all it is. Excuse my butterfly band-aid. Pure, stark white. Titanium Buff is kind of like a off-white. It's not a cream color. It's like you've mixed in coca, or it's kind of the color that coffee flavor goes. So if I show you there, the two sides side by side, the buff versus the white. So you can't use them interchangeably, obviously, but the Titanium Buff blends nicer when you don't want that kind of stark color loss effect that the Titanium White can cause. And it also plays really nice if you're thinking, I just need to lighten this up a bit, but I don't want to just be throwing white onto it because it feels unfinished. White always feels unfinished. It's just, love white to bits, but you just have white around for the excuse to use more black, because black's really the party, let's be honest. Like these dark areas, and they'll tell you in art school, they say don't use black, and like that is great advice some of the time, but actually an art piece without black has no punch. It's got no zing. It's got no boom. You need black, and Mars black doesn't count. If you're using Mars black, you're using brown. This is Mars black, and this is carbon black. Hold on. Last thing, and then I will paint, I promise. Mars black. Can you see that there? Is that light working? It's got more of a brownish hue to it, and it's really noticeable when it dries. But if you put that beside carbon black, now this is a no-chill black. See that? I'm not sure if you can tell, but you can see this one starts to look a little bit more brown, and this carbon black one gets stuck in, and it's actually a deep black. So when you go into the store there and go, I'm just going to grab a black, I'm not going to use much, and you walk out with a Mars black, you just walked out with another version of brown. If you want black, go for jet or carbon. I like carbon black because it sounds sciencey, but like there's a couple of different lamp black and things. Blacks, just like with interior house painting or blacks, there's just so many variants of it. Everyone explores the off-whites. There's a million different kinds of off-white. Sure, party with that, but same goes for black. There's just infinite little variations on deep blacks. And you only really start noticing when you put them in large, expansive areas and see how they feel. And then white kind of cares about gloss effects, gloss, satin, matte. Yep, definitely do care, but not as much as black. A gloss black versus a matte black is two, and they may as well be different colors. They're not the same. They're not the same. You see it? Fantastico. But the other thing they don't tell you, like I started watching some of those YouTube courses, and you know how I used to say all the time, watch the YouTube videos. If you want to learn how to make eyes, watch the YouTube videos. If you want to, I regret saying that. I don't reckon that's really that true. I think I made a mistake. Because I tried to go watch some YouTube videos and I thought, you know, I'm gonna watch these. I'll do some tutorials and just do some figure painting and whatnot. And it's not that. They grind you into a linear process to do something, even the impressionist style ones, and it's not correct. I was reading a book about how to do an impressionist landscape, and they broke it down in a series of steps that you must follow. And I'm like, by the very nature of doing that, it's no longer impressionism. It's kind of distorted realism. And there is a difference. So I think the best way to paint or to learn how to paint or do things that you want to do is find someone who's doing it and then just be around them and paint with them or do it, you know, that kind of stuff. Kind of like that saying when they say you become more like the people you're around. If you're around people who are positive all the time, you'll be more positive. If you're around people who are negative, the same. If you're around people who play a lot of rugby or football and they're good at it, it might start to just rub off on you a little bit. And I think painting's pretty similar, because I was telling people to go watch YouTube videos without actually having done it myself, and then I did it and I hated it. I'm sorry for saying that. So if anyone else has spent a few hours watching YouTube videos and didn't like it, we're in the same club. We're in the same club. It's good content, don't get me wrong. It's fun to watch, but do you come away from it knowing more? Oh, like that's, I don't know, that's anyone's guess. And like if you follow it to a T, you do learn how to make their generic eye and then to then apply it somewhere else. It's kind of like you learned the philosophy of a parabola or Pythagoras' theorem, but you never learned how to apply it anywhere beyond the mathematical example on the paper. And so it's actually in your mind, but useless to you. Sometimes it feels like that, like, someone's like, what's painting like? You're like, oh, kind of like Pythagoras, actually. Definitely the key thing that gets forgotten is making it fun. Like you can make great art from martyring yourself in it and sacrificing, but sometimes if you're not doing that the right way, you can sometimes actually just impose your misery onto the work because you think it will improve it, when all you do is make all your brushstrokes blunt and the work just numb and boring. When you thought you were doing it a justice, it's like you want two canvases in the studio. Dorian Gray would like this. Two canvases in the studio. One when you're feeling one way and one when you're feeling the other. And then just keep spreading it out. And so you've got your euphoric canvas, your depressed canvas, your friendship canvas, your silly canvas, your dancing canvas, your frisky canvas. Have one of every kind of canvas. And then when you go into the studio, you ask yourself how you're feeling. And then you've got one little indifferent canvas off to the side there as well. And you kind of match it up. I wonder what that would look like, because suddenly you separate out the feelings, with the other opportunity obviously being you just unload all those feelings onto one canvas. It's more naked and raw. Either way, do your thing. Sophisticated? Yeah, I guess you could say black brown is sophisticated. I don't think messy will allow me just to hang. Yeah, but what about when your happy canvas is too wet? Yes, yes. This is a big thing. This is the like for me, this is the number one reason to have multiple works on the go, because acrylic paint's fun to layer. And so you want to use a lot of acrylic paint, but it needs to dry. Otherwise, it all just goes porridgey. Oils love it when you add oils over oils and just keep caressing them in there. They mix deliciously and they just look like different pigments of butter spreading over the surface. Love it to bits. Acrylics are not like that. Acrylics go on beautifully, but once they've gone on, if you want to put acrylics over the top, wet on wet style, they start to complain. They go dull and porridgey and just overall yuck. So acrylics need you to stop. They want you to go hard and then stop, go hard and then stop. And the way you do that is as soon as you feel like you've covered enough of the canvas that you're actually going back to areas that have already got paint on them, no matter how much in the mood you are, the painting is no longer in the mood for you. So you need to stop. And that's where you have multiple canvases, because then you go, right, I'm still in the mood though. I'm jigged up. I want to go. Take this canvas down, put another one up. And in conditions like this where you're outside, you really only need about 2 hours before it's actually touch dry enough to paint over. Sometimes 20 minutes. Definitely not for the thick patches, but same thing goes for... Same thing goes. Where am I going? That point's been made. It's done. It's done. Let me just turn this around though to face. Here comes the sun, pretty darling. Here comes the sun. And I'll say, okay, we're just doing a little twisteroo team. You have to bear with me for a moment. Here comes the sun, little darling. Here comes the sun. We're just going to move around a little bit, as long as I don't knock everything and then all the power stops working. Hold your ground, team. Hold your ground. Da dun 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 da da dun da dun 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 da dun dun. There we go. Watch out for those. Try not to unplug anything accidentally. Here we go. How do we go with that? Excellent move. Why is everything still going? What are the chances? There we go. Yeah, so biggest thing about those colors changing, 2 reasons. First off, shade versus, direct light versus shade. And the second reason that's going to really play with it is the amount of texture on the surface getting hit from a different direction. So the work feels completely different at 2 different times of the day. See, if I just come into any random spot and we go, this is the amount of texture. All those colors and their highlights and shadows just utterly changed with a 20-degree angle change. So if you've got subtle ambient light changing in a room, this work will give in a whole bunch of different ways. Come up here, it's got the side's not quite as explored. There's only really one layer here, really, but you can just see at the moment, just thick lugs, guys. Just really give it. The thickest spot right now, probably. I've been hanging around down here a lot. This little area here. This is reached capacity this session. There's just too much paint around now. But that building up of those little bits and bobs, that's what we're after. And looking at it now, it's really, it needs a shockingly intense red. Oh my God, now that light's behind the cloud, I can actually read the comments easily. What a wonderful, wonderful experience. Ah, by golly gosh, it won't last. But anyway, that's where it's at. And you can just, one thing I don't like is, especially in these lighting conditions, you see these mustards, they just don't vibe with me. I'm not a mustard guy. Love mustard, makes me burp, but I love mustard in food. But on a painting, mustard and fabric's also nice. Mustard and fabric goes hard. Day versus night. The other thing you can do too, if you've got one of those media rooms or any room that you can adjust the hue of the lights, paintings will utterly change because you suddenly only fire red light, blue light, yellow light, orange light, green light, purple light at it. Whole vibe change. Direct light versus indirect light, you'll get different outcomes from the finish on it, the satin and the gloss. So I like mixing the finish so it's not all just gloss or all just satin. It's this combination of all things at once in different spots. And so what happens is you actually, found red by the way, you actually start, different areas will lose their color completely and reflect basically like a white color, like chrome. So suddenly, rather than just the colors changing their vibe slightly, you lose colors and gain colors as light changes. And the more of that stuff you can put in a painting, just the better it's going to be long term, because no matter how good the painting is, Starry, Starry Night, you can only see it so many hundreds of thousands of times until it's kind of run its course with you. But if it can be reimagined in different seasons, different times of day, different lighting conditions, different angles, different distances, then it takes a longer period of time, if not indefinite, to form that relationship with the work. And suddenly you've got a companion in life rather than a picture you thought was nice at a farmer's market and went home with. That's art. That's art. And textures like that naughty little secret that you only know about if you're there in person with the work, or you get the zoom on the camera. That's another that works for it too. But yeah. I might just, feeling a bit compressed, I'm going to push that way a wee bit. Second. There we go. Just make sure you're in the right spot, team. There we go. I like the camera doing that because it makes it much easier for me. I get the space to move around in without the camera being right there, being like claustrophobic. I like to be able to step back and not trip over a cord. You know, that kind of stuff is best for me. Right. But for all intents and purposes, this is a fantastic layer 2. This is exactly what we wanted to happen. And still looking down the line of about 5 to 6 layers before completion, definitely. 5 to 6 is about spot on. Grew up in a gallery, like to see things up close. And it's interesting too, because sometimes you'll see things up close and you won't gel with them. And it's a funny thing. Like in the flesh, you're like, wow, I thought the closer I got to it, the more the allure would attract me in. And sometimes some paintings fail to give up close. They just lose that, what do you call it? The ménage à trois. Is that the right word? For, I keep forgetting that French term. Something that's there which I don't fully understand. See, my paintings, especially the textured ones, they stop being what they were from a distance and they become something completely different. And I play into that. So you actually have effectively 2 different paintings. One that you enjoy up close and one you enjoy from far away. But that being said, you can have it so it keeps giving more and more of the same thing the closer you get. I guess that's what the, especially with hyper texture works like that Dahlia's picture was doing. you knew they were messy flowers, and the closer you got, the more they gave you messy flowers. So that was pretty special. You got a signed John Lennon painting. You absolute wild card. I love that. Love that. Wait, you've got a painting signed by John Lennon, or do you have one of my paintings of John Lennon that I signed? In my mind, both are equally as special, but oh dear. I love that show Yesterday, the one where he appears in an alternate universe where the Beatles don't exist, and he just basically reimagines their songs. I love that one so much because, well, just everything about it. It brings up really interesting questions on talent, and I really enjoyed John Lennon because he says John Lennon in this world isn't actually famous. He's just a regular guy. And the main actor says, but you're not, he says something along the lines of, but you're not successful. And he's like, I'm happy. I've lived an amazing life. I've had an amazing partner. I'm fulfilled. What's your definition of success? And it's quite interesting. You know, the main character, I don't believe, wakes up, or he starts to wake up at that moment and realizes, oh, it's not about just having the Beatles song and re-releasing them out there to the world and doing this. It's there's more to this. The reason why John Lennon was potent is he had that value structure, which then came out in the music. Plus, he practiced endlessly. He turned the craft of music into an absolute. Right? Got so good at it that, well, he can make music, is what I'm saying. Or he can't. Depends who you ask. It's a painting of John Lennon that's signed by the man himself. I love that. That's special. That is special. Sometimes I do go back and listen to a bit of the Beatles. That red album with the number 1 on it. Really special. Yeah, see, this red just really... It's out here telling those mustard yellows to chill out and go back. Caden, one day, when I'm as big as John Lennon, well, actually, John Lennon says that's not the point. Happy and fulfilled. But absolutely. If you put a portrait of John Lennon in front of me, I'll sign it. You're like, oh my God, it's a portrait of John Lennon that's signed? Who's signed? Wait a minute, that's not his signature. But yeah, no, it's some random New Zealand artist. I got him to sign it. That's cool, I suppose. Certainly niche. Who else has a painting from John Lennon signed by a completely different artist? Maybe someone. It's definitely rare. There we go. There is a house in New Orleans. Here we go. That's what I need. Let's get a bit more of this in there. Imagine, yeah, that's funny. That is funny. It's true. He's not. Steve's telling the truth. He does. One more on the way, eh, Steve? Yeah, I've got a painting that brings me a lot of pleasure in my house. It's a picture of Clint Eastwood, really up close portrait. I love portraits more than anything else of my own work. I love it all, but for me in my own house, I love big abstract portraits. They just really spin my wheels. Um, yeah. Anyway, especially of old people. That's my niche. Uh, anyway, massive picture of Clint Eastwood from The Good, Bad, and the Ugly, and it's so big in my house that it's so consuming that you only actually appreciate little spots of it until you're right the way across the room, and then the whole face comes together. It's really special. I love it. I love it. I was going to sell it overseas, and it's actually best kept because the shipping costs on a picture that's 2 meters by 3 meters to build the box and to ship it and to insure it and things, it was going to be something like 5 or 6 thousand, so about 4,000 US dollars. I thought, no, it's just best it. If it's bringing me pleasure, I'll keep the mega one, the big one. It's kind of funny when people come to visit, they go, oh my God, because it does consume the whole wall. It's massive. I don't have a big house, but we don't have a big house, but we have a high ceiling. So the ability to put artwork in it, you know, whether you want it further up or whether you want it within reach to touch, it has those possibilities to it. That was one of the things when we first moved in that Shelby said, look, I'm really excited. Can we just get some of the art on the walls and make this place our own? I agree, Steve. You've got to keep a couple, eh? Um, sometimes, I've done it a few times where you sell everything out or where you've got nothing up on your walls and you forget what a painting gives to your life, that it is this little drip feed of inspiration or sparks or happiness. And without it, you kind of just do start, not entirely, but getting a little bit more numb. And that's where a painting is just a really, really wonderful thing, especially one that means something to you, to just keep that human element in you, not lost. So easy to lose the human element. Way too easy. All right, team. I think that's enough from me today. Thank you very much for joining me. For those of you who have been here the whole time, thank you for giving me some of your time, and I hope I was able to enrich your life by sharing some back. Thank you for joining me for layer 2 on this painting, and I think we'll keep going somewhere special with it over the next 4 or so layers. And every time I call that, like we did with 700 Springs Ranch, it ends up being 12 or 15 layers. So let's put it in as a soft 6, and I don't think it'll be less. Let's say 6 plus. Kind of like Lego. Anyway, wait, Lego's 3 plus. I forget what Lego is. Lego's amazing though, I can't wait. We're almost at the stage where my daughter's not going to choke on the pieces. And suddenly I can buy Lego and then say it's a purchase for my daughter, which allows me to spend disproportionate amounts of money on it. I'm very excited. Now, okay, I've got to get a roll on. Thank you very much, guys. What is it? A mountain range? Yes, it is. I'll bring you in close, team. So for a quick little looky here, this is the gorge. This is where we're currently based. I'm going to do a quick zoom in, and then I'm going to break down the picture, and then I'll get a roll on. Here we go. So you can see it from about there. You've completely lost the detail, and we've moved into abstract paint. Come up really close, thick lugs, lots of texture. The end game is to get all those bits there where you see raw canvas and replace it with paint. So that way, up close, it's just endless, abundant, thick color. And when you come back, the whole picture will start coming into context. Now, what's going to happen? There's going to be a mountain range, low line, kind of hills, tumultuous terrain up through here. Nice, mild sky, just nesting itself on top of those mountains. Two sides coming in, smaller hills, but they're closer. Reflection in the water. Now this reflection here is this hill here, okay? But at the moment, well, yeah, a reflection of a hill in the water here. And then we have a nice little landscape pushing through here. But at this stage, wild paint, chaos, that's all we want. And at this stage, I'm going to take my equipment inside, pat myself on the back for managing to get the whole system operating, and I'll touch base with you very soon. I'm looking forward to doing some little miniature tours around this place too, because it's really pretty. Now that it's not so messy, it's really pretty. Cheers, guys. Much love from New Zealand. Look after yourselves. Thank you.